Welcome to this course on personality psychology. I am delighted you've joined us because in the next 2 hours, we're going to dive into one of the most fascinating questions about human beings. What makes us who we are? As Carl Jung once said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. That single line captures the spirit of this course: high quality, research driven, and deeply relevant to your own growth. Every lesson here has been carefully crafted to give you the maximum insight in minimum time, backed by science, history, and real-world applications. Now, let's begin with one of the oldest debates in psychology: nature versus nurture. Are we shaped more by our genetics or by our environment? This debate goes back centuries. In ancient Greece, philosophers like Plato emphasized inborn qualities, while Aristotle believed that experience and environment mold us. Fast forward to the 19th century, when Sir Francis Galton, a cousin of Charles Darwin, coined the phrase nature versus nurture. He argued that intelligence and talent were largely inherited. But not everyone agreed, and the debate has continued ever since. Modern research tells us that personality is not a simple either-or. It's more of a dynamic dance between genes and environment. Twin studies are one of the most powerful pieces of evidence here. Identical twins, who share 100% of their DNA, often show striking similarities even when raised apart. For example, the famous Jim twins in the United States were separated at birth and reunited at age 39. Both had married women named Linda, divorced, then remarried women named Betty, named their sons James Allen and James Allen, drove the same kind of car, and even had dogs with the same name, Toy. Stories like this sound almost unbelievable, but they highlight the strong pull of genetics in shaping personality. Here's an interesting fact. Genetics account for roughly 40 to 60% of personality variation, according to large-scale behavioral genetic studies. That means almost half of who you are is written into your DNA, but the rest is flexible, influenced by culture, upbringing, peers, and even the era in which you live. Consider how different it is to grow up in a collectivist society like Japan, where group harmony is valued, compared to an individualist society like the United States, which prizes independence and self-expression. The same person might express different sides of their personality depending on the cultural script. At the same time, we cannot ignore the environment. Children who grow up in nurturing households with warmth and security often develop traits like emotional stability and trust. On the other hand, early trauma or neglect can lead to higher levels of neuroticism or difficulties in relationships. The psychologist Albert Bandura demonstrated how much we learn from our environment through observational learning. His famous Bobo doll experiment showed that children mimic aggressive behavior when they see adults acting aggressively. This research underlines how environment teaches us not only what to think, but how to behave and react. Think about your own life for a moment. Which of your traits feel hardwired? Maybe your natural level of extroversion or introversion, and which have been shaped by experiences? For example, someone may be naturally shy, but exposure to leadership opportunities at school can transform them into a confident speaker. This interaction is why psychologists today prefer the term gene-environment interaction rather than just nature versus nurture. Case studies also bring this to life. Consider Michael O'Hare, the NFL player whose story was told in The Blind Side. Born into poverty, with a troubled family background, the odds were stacked against him. Yet with the support of a nurturing foster family, he developed resilience, discipline, and drive. His story illustrates how powerful environment can be in unlocking potential, even when genetic factors or early conditions seem limiting. Another emotional dimension here is the way we often underestimate nurture. Many people believe their personalities are fixed, but research in developmental psychology shows that traits can and do change. Personality tends to stabilize after age 30, but it is never frozen. People who intentionally cultivate habits, like practicing mindfulness, building social networks, or even exercising, can alter traits such as conscientiousness and emotional stability. So the real truth is this: we are both sculptors and sculptures. Genetics provides the raw material, but environment, choices, and culture chisel away at that stone, shaping us over time. Instead of asking, is it nature or nurture? A better question is, how do nature and nurture work together to create the unique masterpiece that is you? To close this lecture, I want you to reflect. Which experiences in your life most shaped your personality? Was it a supportive parent, a challenging teacher, a cultural value you grew up with, or perhaps even a genetic trait like your natural temperament?